we're live on YouTube. Lord, I keep forgetting that thing. I click it on sometimes. Got to get back used to the whole multicast network of streaming. And it's usually YouTube that gets it. I think we got it right. It's usually YouTube that gets the most of it. Let's see here. Does it look like I'm looking at you? So, all right, we're live on Facebook. Welcome in, welcome in. I gotta get some software and do this right. I'm doing it like a redneck. 3 different old phones, and half of them are crashing. Welcome in, welcome in. Let's get this shared out. Let's get who we can get in here. Uh-oh, somebody got banned today. I gotta go in there and clear out my TikTokers. If you don't know about TikTok, if you follow people that have been banned, it can hinder the algorithm. So go into your settings on your followings and delete everybody that's when you search TikToker on the people you're following, yeah, delete that off there, because one thing, they're not that account's not there anymore, and it is hindering your algorithm and your videos. All right, welcome to the Chaos Cast. It's good to have y'all here. We got TikTok going, we got Facebook going, we got YouTube going over here on the side. And as always, we've got an itinerary. We have the show notes. How you doing, TikTok Original? Good to see you, my friend. Share this out. If you are not one of my followers, go ahead and hit that follow button. Go ahead and join in the fun. You've seen the title, so we're going to be talking about some wild stuff today. We're going to be talking about Iranian attack drones that are being used in the war in Ukraine. We're going to be talking about how the rivers are basically failing. We've had the Yangtze dry up. We have had a lot of rivers around the world drying up. And now the Mississippi's getting so low, we're having some issues there. So also, one of the things we're going to be looking at is gun control. The new Ghost Gun Control Act is basically useless. And we know that because there are 14 senators led by Liz, was it Liz Warren? I think it was Elizabeth Warren, that are writing the ATF basically because they see that these laws are not being followed. And that's the thing about gun laws that I've noticed since I've been a part of the 2A community. I'm not, politically affiliated with anything, but I do believe in my firearms, and nobody's going to take them. I mean, that's just the way it is. They can pass a law, and it may not be in my home, it may not be in nobody else's home, but I lost all of them at a kayak. Thanks, Josh, man. Thanks for them there likes. Again, if you're just coming in, hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button. Leave us a comment. If you don't agree with us, hey, that's cool. Go ahead and leave a comment. As long as there's no abuse, no evasive politics, and no talking about my children. My children are not here right now, but no vulgarity about children. I don't ascribe to this ignorance of minor attractive people. That's just they're you can live how you want as long as you're not affecting me. And if you're minor attracted to my child, you're going to be in trouble. So, just stay away from my child if you got that issue. But who do we got in here today? Let us know where you're from. We have people from all around the world come into the Chaos Cast. We have people from other countries, people from other states, people from other belief and ideologues, people from different religions. We all come together. We talk about what the heck is happening in this world, because, every time, literally every day, there's something new. We're a news-driven world. We got South Carolina in here. Alabama, Joseph. Heck, you're probably one of my neighbors there. Let me give you a follow. I try to follow our Alabama folks. Yeah, it's not wanting to. Oh, I'm a lagging. Y'all let me know if it's lagging. We got Alabama folks in here. Good to have y'all. Blue lights, FG towers. Oh, Lord. When you look at that, what is that doing to our bodies? There's a lot of speculation about that. And you know what? There was lots of speculation over things in the past that would cause you harm, and everybody said that's a conspiracy theory. Everybody said, hey, them tobacco companies ain't trying to kill you. They ain't causing you no problems. Welcome in, Howard. Good to see you. Welcome in, Mike. It's good to see you too. Evan Harding, welcome in. Maryland 11, welcome in. Racerm 72, welcome in. Heather, she's from Indiana. Heck yeah. Ewan, welcome in. Scottish Craft, welcome in. James Childer, welcome in. Curtis Hiflet, welcome in. Who we got up here? Hey, it's my buddy Chris. He's always in here. Tattoo Dad, welcome in. Mixed Mount Music. Camaro Life. Watch the new Tom McDonald music video. Tom McDonald. Boy, he just lays it out there. Michigan here. We got Wyoming in the house. Heck, the freaking yeah. We got everybody here. And I'm from Alabama. I'm your local redneck hillbilly theologian. And we are here to talk about the news, the chaos news. I will not try to push politics on you. We don't talk about your politics. I don't care about your politics. I've got my own views. We are glad to have you here. I don't care where you are from the political spectrum. We're going to try to educate you about preparedness, being prepared for disasters, power outage, electromagnetic pulse are the big things. Christmas decorations. Yes, my wife is, she is in love with Christmas, probably more than me. She's doing a Grinch theme this year. Let me see if I can give y'all a look at the tree. Excuse our mess. That's my children. No, actually, that's my box of knives that I'm going to be advertising today. But yeah, we are going to talk about some major stuff with the news today. But first off, we're going to give one of our sponsors, Waker's Coffee Company, the Happy Coffee. Screenshot that, my friends. Screenshot that and go use that flow code, that QR code to, if you're looking for business, this is where it's at. Screenshot that. Go check it out. You can make all kinds of money on the side because everybody needs money on the side right now. We will enable you to prepare yourself financially if you have the drive. And also, if you're looking for a nice tactical light, screenshot that one. That is our QR code for our Phoenix Light affiliate. They are great. They are very great. Yeah, everybody says that, but my wife still keeps putting it up. These are some of the best tactical lights you're going to find. Screenshot that tactical light QR code. Go check them out. Go check them out. Let's see here. I got to figure this camera out. Screenshot that right now. Phoenix Light's one of the best light brands out there, tactical light brands out there. And if you are looking to build your preparedness food stash for an emergency, which it's helped us many times over the years when we would have layoffs at work, we would have extra food put up, well, and then I'd have to start rebuilding the stock again because we had to eat that to keep us from getting behind our bills. But go to ReadyWise.com and use our 10% discount code at checkout, E29TEN, all caps, E29TEN, all caps, and get your emergency food buckets put up. Now, these ain't just for them people that, the ones that you call them conspiracy theorists that you think they think the world's going to end. I mean, yeah, it's for those people too, but it's for you like-minded people that just want to be ready for disasters. How many of you have been caught up in a time where you wished you had more than what you had? It was a bad time. It was a rough time. So go to ReadyWise and get ready with ReadyWise and use our discount code E29TEN, all capital letters. So we're going to get into the news today. And for zombie roaches, yeah, zombie roaches. I've heard it all now. Well, I have heard about that fungus that gets in the ant's brain somehow and causes it to basically do whatever it wants. I may be wrong about if it's an ant or a cockroach, but it is like a fungus that gets in there. David Hendricks, thanks for that follow. Eat more crickets. See, that's the thing about it. They're wanting us to eat more crickets, cockroaches, and beetles. That's something we've discussed on here before. You can go back in my videos and look at that. That's going to be their next big push. But the thing is that these chitin proteins, the chitin in the crickets is the same thing that causes the shellfish allergies. So be very careful, and because they're putting this in the food already because of shortages. So be looking in the labels and check that stuff out. And I thank y'all for the likes. Kate47, thank you for coming in. We got my friend Kate47 in here. Stanley Miller, thanks for coming in here. Again, if you are not following us, hit the button and follow us. and check out our videos. We upload daily preparedness videos showing you different techniques. We'll take you into antique stores. We take you to yard sales. We take you everywhere to show you how to be more prepared for less money. Now, if you got money, we got ways for you to help this show grow. So, that's everybody can give their fair share. Well, if you want to help us reach folks and help folks prepare so that in turn you'll be better prepared because you're not having to deal with them because they're ready, well, then go buy something. Go help us out. We don't never make no money. It usually goes right back into what we're doing. I mean, we're operating on 3 old phones right now, so I had to buy a new phone just to do this. I had to buy a computer to make sure I had the right thing. So, hey, you're funding that. You're making this thing better. And we're building a community, and we are helping. And this is a non-political community. When the trolls come in, I try to kind of just not pay attention. And usually my mods just kick them out. And we win most of our appeals when we are false reported. So we got Jerry Dell in here, friend of the show. So y'all give him a follow too. Jerry Dell actually knows Joe Exotic. He worked for Joe Exotic installing radios at that zoo. So Jerry Dell's a great guy. Go check him out. All right, so the first thing we'll talk about is the rivers that are failing. So we've heard about these massive droughts across the world right now. We've heard about the Yangtze River that has begun to dry up. We're seeing where 180 million some odd people in China are without power right now simply because of the river not being able to produce enough hydroelectric energy because it's so dry. I mean, China's even told its farmers just to go ahead and replant like normal because their crops have withered so much and dried. So right now at our Mississippi River, now the Army Corps of Engineers, now you can look this up. We've got our receipts here. We got where this come from, but this is the U.S. Army Corps engineerscorp.com. You can go to that. This is the New Orleans section of that site. They have begun constructing underwater seal to halt saltwater intrusion in the Mississippi River. Now, this comes from CNN. As the Mississippi River plunges, the Army Corps is building a 1,500-foot wide levee to keep salt water out of the drinking water. So if you live near the Mississippi, if your drinking water comes from the Mississippi River, you are in desperate need of this levee that the Army Corps of Engineers is building to keep salt water out of your drinking water. Now, you can't drink salt water. That's why Tom Hanks, when he's on that island over with the volleyball, that's why he's over there drinking that little bit of water that he finds in that cave. And when he gets off that island, no, I'm not Amish. Every day, Amish or Muslim. I'm Pentecostal. I'm a Pentecostal Church of God minister. But yeah, you always see him with that big jug of water. Why? Because he had water all around him that he couldn't drink. And that's going to be kind of the case if things were to collapse. If we did not have the water treatment facilities and they were not running, let's say an EMP happened, because right now the big rumor out there is to prepare for darkness, prepare for a long dark winter, to prepare, and even governments are starting to tell their people to prepare for power outages from either cyber attacks or EMPs. So if the water treatment plant couldn't function, you would have water all around you couldn't drink. Because I know ain't not one person that's in this chat that's in these live streams that's going to watch this on recap. Not one person, not one of you is going to be senseless enough to walk to your local river or creek and just start sucking water with your mouth. You're either going to have a live straw, you're going to have a Sawyer Mini, you're going to have a Frontier straw, maybe some off-brand, which I don't, if that's all you can afford, that's great. But it might be better to build your own filter. But you're gonna need to boil that water with your homemade some of your homemade filters. And some of these filters are still not going to get everything out. You're going to be at some kind of risk at some point in time. So that's the thing. Having water completely around you can't drink. Right now, the Mississippi is at risk. It can't even be treated because of the salt water in it. They'd have to build a desalination plant there just for you to be able to drink that water because it's so dry. Now, we talked about yesterday and the day before how the Mississippi is becoming so low right now that barges are becoming caught up in sandbars and the mud and silt at the bottom of this river. And so what we're seeing right now is it's hindering river travel. It's hindering um, the export and the import of certain foods. Now, a lot of your grain from a lot of your farms, they're not always hauled by trucks. A lot of them are put onto these barges to be taken upriver. So where some of these trucks will take them from the farm, they'll take them to a barge or they'll take them to a train yard. So we're already having issues with our rail companies. People are quitting in mass. These if I could quit saying the there it did again. How many times? Somebody count how many times I say there in the middle of this. Um, People need to print your Constitution. Well, I mean, I think that's get that downloadable Constitution. It's good to have that. But one of the things we're seeing right now is the railroad is looking at a possible strike. It doesn't matter what they told you on the news about how we've got this great deal. No, they've agreed to put this deal before all the members of the organization to vote on it, like the actual people paying the dues. So that's the thing right now. That if that was to go down for one day, imagine how bad things are going to get. I have a friend that's a truck driver, Walker Staggs, and he told me, he said one day without the trucks running into New York City would decimate them. It would take 6 weeks just for one 24-hour period of no trucks bringing in food and supplies into New York City. It one day would tie them up, and for 6 weeks. You imagine the food riots? You imagine hungry people? You're not going to just have people out on the streets like you would during the race riots here we had the last couple of years. You imagine just hungry people getting out in actual food riots. We've not seen what is going to happen until people get hungry, because as long as people are fat and fed, they're going to be calm. They're going to be docile. That's the thing. Predators don't go out hunting when their belly's full. They go out hunting when they're hungry. And so you wouldn't just see riots and people causing problems. You'd see criminals you never knew were criminals. You'd see people committing vicious acts. You would actually see cannibalism. And how do we know that you would see cannibalism? One thing that happened down in South America here recently when we had a government failing. We're not going to name that name because it may be one of those triggered things that you can't say. But most of y'all know when we had this issue down there, there was actual talk of cannibalism down there. But history, repeats itself. And we look at the Holodomor of the 1930s in Ukraine, which is actually being invaded right now. But Stalin had took all the food, and people were starving. People were getting their certain allotment of food, and there were 2,500 some odd cases of cannibalism that was actually people were convicted in these cases and punished. But then there were the ones that they didn't find out about, and there was this crazy letter. You can Google this about the Holodomor, but this crazy letter that we're talking about a well-educated person, a doctor, a physical like a physical physician, like a medical doctor, writing a letter to her friend that all the good people had died in the beginning. They would not eat human flesh, and she said, "I fear that I myself may become a cannibal in the end." So we're looking at food shortages. We're looking at potential power outages. We're looking at the supply chain becoming even further decimated and entangled just because of all this weather. You could not write a movie like this. I've never seen a movie that had this much going on in it. They'll be telling stories about if everything was to settle down today, they would have just a story on the last 3 years. Just a series. I survived such and such. I mean, the Depression probably won't have anything. The American Depression won't have anything on this when it's done, I would say. And we've seen more people suffer during this period of time around the world than they ever did in the 1930 Depression in America. We have got to learn how to produce our own food. And we have got to learn how to disinfect our own water. I seen somebody, I think, talk about in the comments not long ago here up through there, and I ain't got time to go back through there, about your own desalinator. There are plans to actually make your own water desalination system, and it's not terribly hard. Amelia Earhart, just recently when they found a body, they're pretty well ascribing to be her. They found glass bottles that were used in a desalination process to to help, get fresh water from seawater. And they actually, from what it seems, when they studied these bodies of her and her navigator, they found they actually starved to death. So they survived for some time on that island with these little homemade distillinator. And so that's something to look at. We're looking at drought across the board. We're looking at it's affecting our rivers. It's affecting our crops. There are farmers that will never farm again, family farms that have completely given up right now because they could not afford to feed their cattle because of the drought. They could not afford to keep the water in the troughs like they needed. They could not afford to run the equipment because we're in a diesel shortage right now. Recently, we talked about this yesterday. Recently, we just had some trade advisors halt shipments of diesel going to Europe because our levels were so low, and they brought them back because we're seeing diesel shortages across the country. And people keep saying, well, this ain't happening. And I'm not seeing it where I'm at. Yeah, because they're keeping the fuel in the tanks. They're keeping it there when you buy it. But one day, that supply may run out. You're used to driving up to a pump. If you're a trucker and you're not seeing this, you're used to driving up to a pump. You're used to driving up to that pump and it having something in it. But what I'm talking about is we're seeing such dangerous levels. We're over here trying to send aid to Europe because of these crises with OPEC and Russia and the Nord Stream pipeline. And we're actually bringing that back because we're in such bad shape. This is something you can Google. This is something you can look at. We got the show notes posted. I think I had it on the show notes yesterday. You can go check out our blog. Our link is in the bio. You've probably seen that announcement when you come in to our introduction, but go check it out. The Miss Mo girl. Yeah, we are seeing deer getting sick from the chronic wasting disease. It's still here, folks. It still keeps going. My friend Ricochet, he says that he is a trucker. Man, that dang thing disappeared. Oh Lord, there we go. And he said, I'm a trucker and people don't understand how serious this is getting. Denial. This is my friend Ricochet. We call him Yellow Cake on Clapper. He is a fellow preparedness expert and analyst. And he is saying people don't realize how bad it's getting. Now, I see people talking about making fire. Now, we will be posting some videos on how to make char cloth. If you don't know what char cloth is, it is a process of taking cotton cloth, putting it in a metal container with a breather hole, and you put it in your fire. As you can see, this has been irradiated in the fire, and that fire will basically it cooks the chemicals off of it. You'll see white smoke coming out, and then you'll be able to strike it. It'll be a very combustible, easily flammable tinder. I guess we'll say it like that. I'm trying to sound fancy, but basically you'll be able to strike that thing with a ferro rod and it will combust. Actually, if you put this in the fire, thank you, blessed angel. We got one of my mods in here. Look out, folks. There she is. We had some pretty good folks in here so far, blessed angel. But when you pull this out of the fire, you can't open that thing right off because if the oxygen gets to that, because that's what you're doing, you're removing the oxygen. This is basically a little chamber you're making. You can do it with Altoid tins. Thanks, Jared Dale. Thank you. Thank y'all for them gifts. Thank y'all for helping us out. But if you open this too quick and the oxygen gets to it, that thing's going to catch back on fire. How do I know? Because the first time I did it with an Altoid tin, I opened that thing up and I said, why is that orange? And it went whoosh, and the whole thing turned to dust and was gone. I had to start the process over. So I've done the hard work. I've done the leg work for y'all folks. I'm teaching y'all these things. Easier to play panic, easier to go back to Europe. Oh Lord. Going to the future, not the Bronze Age. Well, I hope we are, but it seems more and more every day history's repeating itself. But Ricochet saying, I find the best char cloth made comes from 100% cotton blue jean material. So that you heard it from the expert over there. Blue jean material. You got some old blue jeans? Take them, put them in an Altoid tin, some kind of metal container, throw them in the fire for a while. You'll have a great supply of fire starter. And one of the good things about that fire starter, most of us are wearing these cotton work shirts like I have. And what happens is you always got to start thinking about the next fire when you're in survival mode. If you are a refugee from a city, let's say the power gets knocked out with an electromagnetic pulse, that city's unlivable. Now, you're going to have the National Guard's going to be deployed, and their goal is to keep people from traveling, to limit movement, because they can't have mass amounts of people destroying our infrastructure and farms. So you're gonna be, if you are stuck in a city when things blow off, you're gonna be in a tinderbox itself. But if you somehow escape, or you're going to the FEMA camps, you're going to want to know how to make a fire. Millions of people, they're not going to be able to handle that. There's no way to prepare for that, no matter what they say, because we've seen that with the tsunami in Asia. I mean, people were sending tons of help over there, but they couldn't get it all out to the people because of the destruction and the mayhem. And that's what you'll be dealing with. But if you get out, or you're in one of these places, you want to be preparing for the next fire. You can cut off pieces of a bandana. You can cut off little pieces of your blue jean. You can cut off pieces of your sleeve and use that to be ready. Now, I mean, if you bring extra clothes, that's great. Or if you just take an old ripped up t-shirt with you for filtering water and for that purpose, because water wicking is a great way to filter your water. You can just set it and go. And we got a system. If you give us a follow and you go to our account and check our videos, now we're on everything right now pretty well. If you go, we got a system, the hanging dry bag water wicking filtration system that we have put the video out there. How you can do it. You can take these 2 dry bags. They're 5-liter dry bags. They fold up about the size of a wallet. They're going to take much room out of your bag. And you can go get that water from the river, hang those things up, take a bandana, and run one from the dirty water into to an empty dry bag. And that water will wick while you're off doing other things. Then all you'll have to do is put it in a pot and boil it. Why would you need that much water? Well, if you're a family, you know how many gallons of water, how many liters of water a family needs? You might need every person in your family to have this. Why wouldn't you just go use your life straw at the river? Well, in that time, have you ever watched out there on the Serengeti, you know, the watering holes on the Serengeti? Have you ever watched what happens to the gazelle, one of the weakest animals when they go to the water? I mean, if the lions, the leopards, and the cheetahs don't get them, then you got these 15-foot crocodiles that will come up and snatch them and pull them under. You don't want to be near the watering hole, folks. And a lot of the watering holes that are close to us, like if you don't got running water, you're going to have to go to a local river. You're going to have to go to a local creek. And nature will happen. This will happen. People have been this way for years. When the rivers were waterways, we had pirates. When the oceans were waterways, we had pirates. People will see mass amounts of people coming to one spot, and things will happen. People will get in fights. But at the same time, there will be groups of people that would prey on the weak. And that's always one of these scenarios we see in these disaster situations. People are looting. People are taking advantage of the lawless situation. So you want to avoid staying in areas too long that could cause you harm. So that's what this dry bag system is for. Get a bunch of water, get out of there, conceal yourself in your camp, let that thing start wicking, get it filtered. If you got a little Dakota fire hole, then your fire's hid. We got videos on that. Now they're way back. I need to do another Dakota fire hole video, and I may do that this weekend. But yeah, you're going to want to have that fire concealed. You're going to want to have windbreaks so people can't see it. You're going to want to be able to cook without being caught. And there's ways to do that in the ground with rocks. And these are the kind of videos that we are putting up. We're teaching you how to stay safe in a disaster when mass amounts of people and lawlessness are abounding. And we know this is coming. We know this has happened before. We've seen it through history. We're seeing it around the world right now. Like Sri Lanka just had a mass uprising. I mean, they raided the presidential palace and the guy just resigned and left. So what I'm saying is be prepared. Don't be scared. Be prepared. Have a plan. Know where you're going. Because things are blowing off so fast around this world, we can't keep up with it. I mean, the basic lifeblood, you know, our water is being contaminated during this chaotic time. Now, you may have seen in the title about the Iranian attack drones. Now, not long ago, one of our advanced drones crashed in Iran. I think this was back around 2011, 2010. So they back engineered that drone and added certain technology to it that it didn't have before. And they have these, they've turned some of these into kamikaze drones. So they have sent these to Russia. Now you can Google this. This is the Washington Post is talking about these kamikaze drones. Now the U.S. has been viewing wreckage of the kamikaze drones that Russia has used in Ukraine. They got them from Iran, and right now the U.K. Is talking about sanctions, more sanctions on Iran, because there's sanctions to high heaven right now. But they're putting more sanctions on the Iranian government right now because they're sending more of these drones to Russia. And then one of the headlines you can look up is basically the U.S. is naming they're looking at certain countries that are sending aid to Russia's war in Ukraine. So could this spread? Are we already in what history will call World War III? Are we already there? Are we looking at the modern version of World War? And at this turn of the century, we're going to see some wild, crazy stuff. I mean, I really want you to think about that. I want you to think about that. Are you prepared for what's coming up? You know, we came into the 1900s, and it was about the 1920s. Things were great in America. You had the roaring 20s, and people were just loving life. People had gathered into cities and forgotten how to take care of themselves again. And the Depression and the wars that were coming along afterwards basically gave everybody that kick in the butt they needed to get back to where they needed to be as far as what they knew and their self-reliance and how to take care of themselves. So are we getting that natural occurring kick in the butt as people? Have we got too far? Have we risen too high? And now nature's correcting things, and we got wars and rumors of wars, times of lawlessness, and times of lawlessness are abounding. And sorry, brother, I'm at the doctor's office. How have you been? Oh, P-Bone, good to see you, bud. Sorry about that. My mind goes off when I see a friend come in. He's a good dude. But yeah, will we look back at this on history and see all the mistakes we made like we look back at the early 1900s or the 1800s, the 1700s? Will we look back? And I believe we will. But they're using these kamikaze attack drones. Ain't that wild? Ain't that wild how history repeats itself? Now, we had the Japanese using kamikaze pilots. Now we have ability to take the pilot out of the situation, and they can run these drones into our equipment, into the Ukrainian equipment. They can run these into buildings, and they can destroy buildings. They can cause mass casualties with these things. So think about that, where we're at right now. What if our land is drug into this war? What if this truly becomes a world war where we're actually fighting troops on our soil? What if that happens? What if somehow that happens? Are you prepared for that? Because the last incursion we had on our soil was basically during the Civil War, and that was terribly devastating to our country and to our population. And when you study back, there were rich folks that were building houses in the middle of that, and they lost everything in that war, and they lost everything in that war. And you may be one of those people. You're doing good now. You're thriving now. You got a great job, a great home, a great family, but you're not ready for what's coming. And when it comes, it's going to hit you like a sack of bricks. Are you ready for that? Are you prepared? Do you know how to take care of yourself? So during the middle of this, I want to just give a shout out to our friend Adnan. He has sent us some of his knives, some of his handcrafted knives. These are Damascus knives. And yes, these are sharp as all get out. Let me see if I got something I can show you. Cut. Yeah, sharp as all get out. We have these currently up on our site. Have a number of bushcraft and hunting knives, and even crambits and shelf knives that you can find on our website, s29cast.com. Our link is in the bio, and we have those up there. I think our prices are fairly good competing with everyone else. Now, if you're a distributor or you own a physical location and you're interested in buying these, I can help you get some of these for a good price. This 7 knives that you see on our site right now, he is offering these right now for a pretty good price, in bulk. So I will throw that out there. We'll let y'all look at that. Gold and silver will not save you. I don't. That's the one thing I'm going to tell y'all, folks. If you're investing in gold and silver, hey, it's good to diversify. It's good to have that. But here's my thing. In the end, when the Soviet Union collapsed, they were putting money in gold and silver, but then it came down to just putting it into land and products. If things blow off and somebody's hungry and they have something you need, possibly food or a tool, you're not going to be able to trade them gold and silver in that chaos. You might be able to trade them a tool. It'll make their life better. You might be able to trade them some supply that you have that they don't have. You need to look at physical things to put in your stockpile. Food that you may not, that you may be able to trade, different things. A lot of people go to liquor. I don't store liquor. I don't have any alcohol in my stockpile. But a lot of people go to things that they know people will want. Moving forward, there was this is pretty wild, but it shows you. You know, we're kind of documenting the lawlessness that's just happening, especially in a lot of our larger urban areas and a lot of our northern areas. But this comes from Fox. Whatever you think about Fox, their site's usually fairly well cited by news or approved by NewsGuard, and so they're fairly easy to be cited. But Massachusetts woman allegedly unleashes swarm of bees on deputies carrying out eviction order. So this she's a beekeeper, and she is unleashing this swarm of bees on the deputies. Now, we seen yesterday, we talked about the man in New York City who got mad about his order at the chicken place and set it on fire. And so, I mean, I'm telling you, folks, things is getting wild. And on a serious note, we're seeing some very serious atrocities happen in our country. We had a woman, I think it was a few weeks back, maybe a month back, over in California. She was a pregnant mother that was beheaded on the street. I mean, you can Google this. Go Google this, folks. This was mainstream news. You had this man that was stabbed to death on the New York City subway system because he was defending a cop. There was, I believe, a female police officer that was either being attacked or she was trying to bring order in a situation, and this guy stood up for her to try and keep her from being hurt, and then he was stabbed to death in front of his children right there. So we're seeing lawlessness abound. Are you prepared for that? Are you ready to defend yourself? You know, just like I showed you that knife. See, they're not going to make enough laws to get rid of knives and guns. They're still going to be there. My friend Carl, he lives in the UK, and everybody wants to cite the UK, how they don't have gun violence, and it's so great because they have all their guns regulated and they can't own fire. The story when he was over here, we met up in Nashville, and me and him were talking, and he was interested in my firearms. And he said, there's nothing you can do to protect yourself. People can just come in and do whatever. The criminals do whatever they want. And he was telling me this heart-wrenching story of this mother and father and their child that were shot and killed in their apartment just down the street from where he lived. And he said there's nothing they could do. They literally, you can't do anything. In a lot of these countries, if you did have a firearm and you used it, you're going to be charged with murder. That's wild. Even in some of our states, I heard on average it takes $35,000 in court costs to get acquitted, even if you're following the law and you shoot someone in your own home. That's insane. We can't even protect ourselves, but things are changing. Things are changing. The Supreme Court is beginning to rule in favor of the average citizen and their right to bear arms, because in the end, a majority of your shootings that they talk about, the 30,000 people that are killed every year in America, 2/3 of those are suicides, people that would have killed themselves one way or another, whether it was with a bullet or with their underwear hanging from a doorknob. Then that third that's left, they still count in police fighting criminals. And there is no country in the world where criminals don't have firearms. There's no country in the world where where the police are not in some kind of firefight with some kind of organized crime. So they're counting those same things. So a very small percentage of people are being killed by accidental gun death. And one of the ways to prevent that is for us to train our children once more about gun safety. The average adult no longer knows about gun safety. And when you have adults that are playing with guns like toys and shooting themselves in the head, that's not no law that can fix that kind of stupid. No, there's not. There's education. And I keep hearing about people, though, you're uneducated, and nobody even knows about my education. But here's the thing. You may know tons of things on a book, but what do you know about actual life and about common sense? I mean, we have people that don't even know where their food is coming from. They say, somebody come in here yesterday, we were talking about eggs and chickens. It's like, what's wrong with your store, man? I'm like, have you looked at the prices lately? First off. Second off, do you know where that food comes from? Do you know what they do to that food before it gets to you? Our kids literally think food is manufactured in the back of Walmart. They get that stuff for free. They need to give it away for free. No, that stuff's being grown. That stuff is being raised. That stuff's being butchered. It's being processed, and it's being shipped to your local grocery store. And if you don't know that, you do now. You can't live in ignorance anymore. And there are so many things threatening you as a person and your food security. You need to be thinking about that. Can you grow food? Can you forage for food? Can you hunt? Do you know what to do? And as for those that say guns are just for hunting and not for protection, there is the video that's been up recently, and you can look this up. A man that is out hunting, and he is, accosted by a wild cougar. And he's shooting at it, and it's still trying to attack him. Luckily, he had his sidearm, and it looks like a Glock 19 that he's using. And he's firing, and the thing's still trying to come at him. So if you think the only reason you need a firearm is for hunting or target practice, you're nuts. Because while you're out there hunting, there are packs of coyotes. We were talking about this same situation last night at work, and my friend, he keeps up with a lot of hunting and gun regulations and things, and he talks with a lot of people, and one of his friends was talking about how he was coming out of a hunting club, and he seen a coyote. He heard the coyotes, and then he looked back. He seen one, and then he began to realize they was rustling all around him. They were getting ready to attack him. He had to use his firearm to run him off. And if you think a bolt-action rifle is going to save you from a pack of coyotes that's hungry, you're crazy. If you think guns are, if you're not man enough to use a knife, and why you need a gun? Man, that's the stupidest argument in the world. Men have been using guns for centuries. And the whole, if you watch The Last Samurai, guns trump blades. I'm just going to tell you. There ain't no man enough to make a knife out-compete a gun. And if you're not man enough to learn gun safety, then you're going to be out in the cold, my friend. It's your own fault. So gun control in America right now, they're trying to regulate everything. And this tells you how much gun control doesn't work. We turn the school into a gun-free zone, and only the criminals go into the gun-free zone. We try to pass laws to regulate guns, and they use it just to come and harass you, the law-abiding citizens at their house. Here's the thing. Do you realize that the military and law enforcement have more accidental discharges than all of the American civilians that own firearms put together? Do you realize they have more accidental discharges? Well, there's literally a video you can pull up on YouTube of a teacher talking about how he's the only one professional enough to carry this 40 cal Glock. And then he shot himself in the leg in front of a group of students. And then you had a guy that thought that the average citizen was not capable enough to carry a firearm that shot, and I believe he was hospitalized, but he shot himself cleaning his own gun. So think about that. And so right now there's this big push to try and control ghost guns. They're trying to regulate ghost guns. So they made this law. We gotta regulate ghost guns. So come to find out, they're only able to regulate the gun kits that instruct you how to do it, where you buy the lower, you buy the tools, you buy the instructions all together. But what these manufacturers of 80% complete lowers have just done, and they've consulted the lawyers. These guys know their laws. They talk with people that know the law. So they just started selling the lowers by themselves, and then the toolkits by themselves, and it's a loophole. They've gotten around the law. And so 14 senators led by Elizabeth Warren have went to the ATF to say, we gotta try and enforce this, only to find out they can't enforce it. So now we have a federal judge that is actually put into place to keep the ATF from regulating 80% complete lowers and components when they're by themselves, because there's no way they can consider that a regulatable gun. And we've always had the ability to manufacture our own firearms from the beginning of America. Thank you, Jared Dale. Thank you for them gifts. Thank you, my friend. Thank y'all that have gifted. Thank y'all that are helping. How you doing, Doomsday? It's good to see you. So to think that you're going to regulate guns, first off, they've never been able to successfully do it, no matter what you've been told and what you've been led to believe, because you still have gun crime and violent crime in most of the countries that have tried to do this. So that's terrible. It's terrible that that happens, that those people have no way to defend themselves. It's terrible that we have just hamstrung the average gun owner that he can't protect his own family and his house without being charged with murder. It's crazy. But these senators are realizing how futile their laws are passing, because even in California, they've got this assault weapon registry situation, and you can't have detachable. You have to, the way it reads, you have to have a non-detachable magazine that's no more than 5 rounds. There's no way to detach it except through the action. So listen to this. This is real. You can Google this. This is a kit that's being sold that goes. It follows the law. They've talked to lawyers, very well-versed lawyers in California, that said yes. Technically, the only thing there may be is confusion with law enforcement. So you may get tangled up in a legal battle, but you'll be acquitted. And it's crazy as heck. The hollow part in the grip on an AR-15, well, this company's come up with this to where they have a mount and a 5-round 22 long rifle magazine that you can mount through the receiver in the handle bolt, and it's a mounted, undetachable magazine. And according to the law, they can still, there's nothing saying they can't have as long as they had that non-detachable magazine on their gun that can only be detached through the action and through the lower, well, they can still have the 30-round magazine on their firearm if they have that. So right now, every time you pass a law, there's somebody sitting there trying to figure it out. And so recently, they've been going around taking up the solvent traps. They're trying to regulate solvent traps. Now, the thing about solvent traps is they're based on a certain concept, a mag light battery tube. So creating these things is easy. They're never going to be able to fully regulate this. And so there were even people that were printing off these drop-in kits for your gun. They were 3D printing them as coat hangers. And all you basically had to do was cut the hanger off the coat. So if you're about gun control, you have no clue about what you're talking about. There's no way to regulate this. And for those of you that would say, well, should we not try? Should we not try? Your efforts will be better. Sometimes you shouldn't try because you're just wasting taxpayers' money and causing problems. But think about it. You're going to get a haircut? I need to get a haircut too. I have bald and I need to get rid of it. What's left? I ain't got one in a while. I'll probably do that in the morning. But, Cash Plush Chloe. Nobody's yelling about nothing. Welcome to the show. We may do a troll of the day. We have trolls coming in because we're talking about gun control. The only political thing that I'd usually talk about, because I don't care about your politics. All right, so we're going to move forward. Yeah, here we go. So we have a Russian fighter jet released a missile near unarmed British surveillance plane. And the UK Defense Secretary has been talking about this with, where's this cited from? This is from NBC. So are we edging closer to World War III? Yes, we are. They may very well look back and say we've been in World War III for a while now. But yes, they're actually releasing these missiles near our allies' operation platforms, this surveillance plane. So they're releasing this right near them. Could have caused some damage. Could have had some casualties. And we're in war, folks. We're in war. So moving forward, this is from the Daily Mail. Wait a minute, now we're going to go to this one. CBS They're talking about Jeff Bezos is the latest to warn on the economy, saying it's time to batten down the hatches. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos has become the latest corporate leader to warn about the state of the economy, cautioning that rougher times are likely ahead. He says, yep, the probabilities in this economy tell you batten down the hatches. Bezos said in a comment related to Goldman Sachs CEO David Solomon's CNBC interview. So you have rich people, titans of industry that are telling you, hey, you better get ready. You better batten down the hatches. And that's what we keep telling you. We give you these links. You can screenshot that QR code if you need to. We give you these links to find the gear you need. We don't make a ton off of it. We do make a little bit, but we put most of it back into this. We're just trying to help you. We give you the ability to have that side hustle. You click this, you got that side hustle. We give you the ability to buy the gear we have on our website. We give you the ability to sell this gear. If you want to help sell this, especially these knives, you contact me and I'll help you sell that in a physical address or physical location. If you are a seller at a yard sales or flea markets, we'll help you. But you better be figuring side hustles. You better be getting prepared, putting up stockpiles of food. I'm not telling you go in and raid the grocery stores. It can easily be done through people like ReadyWise, which we give you that discount code E29TEN, all caps, at their website, at checkout, 10% discount. If you're worried about the stores being hit, you're going to be one of them that's hoarding from the stores, well, go to ReadyWise. Get your emergency buckets there because that's completely outside the store system. Go to the restaurant supply companies. Buy beans and rice at the restaurant supply companies. Package them yourself. Do what you got to do, folks. Literally, the beans that I've put up that will last 25 years. I've done it myself with Mylar bags. I have the instructions for you to do it at home. Literally, those things are worth, I mean, it's been an investment. They're worth 3 times what I paid for them. The rice and the beans are literally 3 times what I paid for them. The food that I have from ReadyWise is literally, it went from like, I think, probably in the $70 to $80 range per bucket to now we're looking at almost $300 for some of these buckets, like the meat buckets. So you're seeing exponential rise in prices. You're seeing inflation across the board. The Eurozone right now is at a record 15% inflation across the board. The UK has been having basic protests. I think in like 50 cities and towns and villages in the UK were protesting over the food costs, increasing inflation, and fuel costs. So what we've got to learn to do, I've been doing candy to sell, but thinking I need to switch over to actual food. Yes, Cash Plus Chloe, hey, put up that food. The candy's great to sell, but make sure you got you and yours took care of. Make sure you have what you need. If you have to, sell the food, the candy you're making, and use it to buy the food you need. But yes, get prepared, folks. Get prepared. I mean, when you got folks like Bezos finally admitting, hey, the economy sucks, and you better get ready. We better start selling stuff off. We better start laying people off. I mean, Microsoft itself, we reported on that yesterday. They're laying off like 1,000 people, and we're not talking like a factory. We're talking about these are analysts, coders, people that are probably critical to that company, and they don't need them anymore because the economy's sinking. Because of all this stuff that was out on the ocean right now. I've seen it was a video. They were in a place that was like 4 football fields long of all the returns from people buying stuff online that they went on and bought from some other place because it was stuck out on a ship in the ocean. Microsoft was hacked. Okay, I hadn't heard that yet. I think I may have and forgot. There's so much going on. But thank you, blessed angel. I mean, we got cyber attacks every which way right now. I mean, it's insane. I mean, we're literally one click away from probably the grid going down, at least in a third of America, if not all 3 grids in America going down from an EMP. But when you're seeing these companies, you know, they're selling this stuff. I mean, you look at the bin sale stores. We have tons of those down here where people have sent so much stuff back to Amazon that they bought during coronavirus. And you can go in there and spend $7 on one thing and you got $100-something worth of product that somebody sent back. You can't tell me that's not costing small businesses and sellers money because Amazon buys that stuff in bulk when it gets sent back. They offer them a lower price, and these people usually have to take it because it takes forever for Amazon to sort through this. And so then you can just go buy stuff in the bin store for $5 to $7, depending on what day it is, because they lower the price every day. If you've never been in a bin store, I love bin stores. I got a lot of my preps from them. In the beginning, I've done a lot of videos on bin stores. Then I got to realizing the bin stores ain't all over America yet. Just over where you got a lot of Amazon processing centers like we do down here. We got big tech all down, moving all in this valley down here in Tennessee Valley. I'm telling you, we got Amazon, we got Google, we got Facebook. I have a friend that's working for Facebook down in Huntsville City. Loves that job. Just sitting there, what he said. But we got Apple's going to be putting in a center. Another Amazon center is going to be put in my one of my local towns. So yeah, I mean, these companies are losing money that way. Well, then they've canceled billions of orders, and we're going into the Christmas and holiday season. They're canceling billions of dollars in orders. We're talking about Walmart, Target. We're talking about site retail stores. They're canceling orders. And so they're getting in some of this old stock, and you probably will see some of this stuff on the shelves, the stuff that didn't ruin or isn't dated. And you're going to be buying that. They're probably going to be jacking the price up on it just to get what they need to keep functioning, because that's how inflation works. It's supply and demand. They can't sell it all at the price they used to could, because now electricity's higher. Now fuel is higher. Now shipping's higher. Now paying their workers is higher. So now insurance is going to be higher. Everything's going up across the board, and we are going to see the crunch. We may see a literal economic collapse. You're watching people like Bezos, all these people, they're investing in farmland. Like literally, Bill Gates he's the largest farmland owner in America right now. You see all these people buying land. That's one of the things they did when the Soviet Union began to collapse. Some of these companies, the currency was losing value so quickly. And they couldn't buy enough gold and silver because everybody was doing it. They just started putting it in physical assets. They started buying land. They started just so they wouldn't lose value. When your dollar begins to lose value, investors are going to look for something to invest in besides the dollar. Think about that, folks. We got a lot going on in the world. And I'm telling you, if Jeff Bezos is telling you to batten down the hatches, you better very well batten down the hatches. You need to get your initial food supply for you and your family. You need to have a way to get water, to treat water. If you can and you got the room and the money, you need to put up a lot of water. We show you tons of ways to do that. We try to show you easy, cost-effective ways, things you can buy for cheap that'll get the same results as what people are selling in the huge bug-out stores online and these huge companies. They put all this money into these bathtub bags with the kerosene, the old kerosene fuel pump, hand pump, and you put it in your bathtub, fill it up. Them things cost $100. You can replicate that with a couple 55-gallon drum liners, possibly just one 55-gallon drum liner. If you configure it in the right way and you get an old fuel pump from your local hardware store, and I think they're like maybe $5 to $10. And if you were to see the grid go down, well, the pumps in your city are not going to be working unless they've got diesel backups, and that's if they're not they don't have computers that are in their system, because then that'll be fried. So, or if there's a major disaster like we're seeing with Ian, you can take these 55-gallon drum liners, throw them in your tub, fill them up, tie it off with that down in there, make sure it's sealed where it won't leak, and then you'll have 55 gallons of fresh water to drink while everybody's at the store scavenging for a gallon jug of spring water or a pack of bottled water. And you'll have that to get you through. Then when you're done, just let it go down the drain. When the water turns on, let it go down the drain. You'll have plenty of water for drinking. And that's the main thing you need to focus on, is drinking water in a situation. So I'm going to tell you this. Get you some wipes. Get you some hand sanitizer. Jerry Dale works at a dam in Oklahoma. He said there's no power. He can't pump water through the dam. So there you go, folks. That's where a lot of people get their water. A lot of our water comes from the Tennessee River out here. And we have dams all down through. That's where a lot of your electricity comes from. So if they just hit the south, all right, we got a phone call. So can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Yes, that's right. Well, I seen a young man on Twitter yesterday, and for some reason I just feel like he needs some guidance. He's a liberal. He's kind of racist against white people, but I like him. But he said that there was a law they passed recently for farm owners to help aid farmers in paying their loans. He said, "Well, what about the ones that's paid off their farms?" I'm like, "Do you even?" I'm like, I tried to do it the best I could, but without being smart, like, do you actually know people that own farms? A majority of the successful family-owned farms are farms that operate like businesses, and they basically operate in perpetual debt. Every so often, they borrow the money to keep their farm new, so that they can get the taxes that a new farm tax breaks a new farm gets. And so they're able to make more money. And then a lot of what they do, a majority of what they do, they're bringing in side income through things in the farm that they have just to keep, spending money. I know people that literally buy their food through the business. Their houses are owned by the business and things like that. Their vacation spots are owned by the business, and they sell them every 2 years. I mean, these farmers have had to learn to be businessmen, and a lot of them, like he said, they buy them for tax write-offs. And the state of Alabama, I know, pays for all kinds of things when it comes to farmland. So, I mean, and then the same farmer will take one of these cows and butcher it. And if they own a chicken house, well, heck, Pilgrim's Pride will send you a ton of chicken every year just for being associated with them. They'll send you chicken nuggets, whatever. I've talked to a lot of these folks. So literally the guy, he thinks that there's still family farms out there that are paid off. You cannot make a living on a family farm that is a business that's under 5,000 acres right now. And I'm hearing that's straight from the farmer's mouth, because I work with a farmer. He's 72 years old, and he basically got out of it. He just does it for himself and his family and selling hay. But he knows a lot of the farmers in our area, and a lot of them have just quit because of the costs. Everything going up. Everything's going up. So this is why I'm telling you, the average person, they're not thinking about us in this economy and in this. We're just consumers. We live in a consumer-based economy. Everything's based on you buying. Everything tearing up, you buying it. But we got to get back to where we can make things again. We got to get back to where we buy stuff that's going to last. We got to get back to where we can manufacture things that'll last, or that we can continue manufacturing. I have plans of how to build wooden plows, broadforks, stuff for turning soil that you don't have to pay tens of thousands, if not $100,000 for, like you do over here at the Tri-Green, where you're going to try and buy you a brand new tractor. And it'd be small farming, but with mass amounts of people exiting cities and refugees needing food, you're going to have plenty of people that's willing to help you work the ground just to get a bite to eat. We got to get back to growing our own food. We went from a nation in the Depression, we were a nation of about 80% farmers. So everybody was poor. Don't get me wrong. Everybody was poor, but they had plenty to eat. If a depression like that hit now, imagine the people that would starve. We were talking to Jeremy the other day. I think it was in Argentina. They seem like a 50% population. It may have been Venezuela, but it was like the government began to collapse. Inflation happened. Everything was collapsing. There was actual instances, documented instances of cannibalism down there. He said there was like a 50% die-off of the population down there just because people didn't have anything to eat. This affects children. There was like, during the Holodomor, I think they had 2 to 3 million people that died of starvation in the Ukraine, but there was like 6 million children that suffered because of birth defects and negative effects from starvation. And so it affected 6 million people just as they were growing up. So think about that. What are you doing for your family's food security? See, we talk about prepping, but there's only so much you can prep before you got to start figuring out what you're going to do long term. Because if this country collapses, you're going to have to produce your own food. Look at the Balkans. A lot of them had to go back to producing their own food. A lot of people that lived in those cities, when they collapsed and different armies started invading different areas, people had to start learning to farm again. People had to start learning to take care of themselves again. They were literally tearing down cars and turning them into horse-drawn buggies just so they'd have a way to get around because fuel was short. We have seen this in the modern day. We have seen this throughout history. And it's always the unprepared and the little guy that is the loser in the end. And you may feel like you don't have enough ability. You may feel like you don't have enough ability to survive, but we're going to give you some help. We're going to give you some tips. Go give us a follow. Go watch the videos. Go check out the content we upload, trying to educate you about nature, trying to educate you about tools, trying to educate you and strengthen you in your knowledge. Because in the end, knowledge is going to be the only thing they can't take from you. So I see a lot of people that talk about how highly educated they are, but they cannot figure out how to grow food. I mean, this year we had a lot of people start trying to raise food and gardens, and probably some highly educated folks, and those gardens tanked. Now, some people are trying to blame conspiracy stuff like chemtrails. You may believe that, but I think there was just a lot of bad seed because they were struggling, and everybody was buying it, and they was trying to get the product out there. And then I think there was a lot of failures because people were, I mean, there's a trial and error kind of curve to this. You got to learn. You got to get out there and figure it out and figure out what works in your area. You got to figure out what's going on with your soil. So think about that, folks. I want you to think about that. Now, we're coming up on the end of the news, and then I've got somebody requesting to go live, and I'm going to bring them up. If we're going to bring somebody up kind of towards the end. We've been going for 1 hour and 6 minutes now, so we're going to be trying to come to a close. And then, if you want to watch the recap, we're going to have this on Facebook and YouTube, so you can go to our website. Or you can go to the link in our bio, which there's a link to our website. There's a link to our, I believe we got a link to our YouTube and our Instagram in our bio on TikTok, Facebook. I think we have the link to our website on Facebook, YouTube. I'm pretty sure we have a link to our website on there. I may be wrong, but edge29chaos.com. A lot of the videos I've uploaded, just tap in the comments, and there's a link to our website and gear store. Because everybody's always asking about that auger. And we do have those augers on the website for sale, those wood augers you see in our videos. They're $15. They're cheaper on there. We sell them cheaper on there than we do anywhere else because, you know, that's money going directly to us. And we put that back into this ministry. I call it a ministry because I'm trying to help folks, and we're going to pray for you too. So the Daily Mail. Now, this is something the Rolling Stone and Daily Mail both have reported on this. There's an ABC national security producer that hasn't been seen since April. So this is a guy, he was a journalist that was writing a book about Biden's disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. The FBI mysteriously raided his house. There's no calls been given. Nobody's seen this guy since this happened. Now, Rolling Stone says the FBI raided star ABC News reporter's home. Meek has been charged with no crime. This is Rolling Stone. I believe Daily Mail talks about this a little bit too. But independent observers believe the raid is among the first, and quite possibly the first, to be carried out on a journalist by the Biden administration. A federal magistrate judge in the Virginia Eastern District Court signed off on the search warrant the day before the raid. If the raiders, U.S. Department Attorney General Lisa Monaco would have had to give her blessing, which I'm assuming that didn't happen. A new policy enacted last year prohibits federal prosecutors from seizing journalists' documents. Any exception requires the Deputy AG's approval, Deputy Attorney General. Gabe Rotman at the Reporters Committee for Freedom of the Press says, to my knowledge, there hasn't been a case since January 2021. In the raid's aftermath, Meek has made himself scarce. None of his Siena Park neighbors with whom Rolling Stone spoke have seen him since. With his apartment appearing to be vacant, Siena Park management declined to confirm that their longtime tenant was gone, citing privacy policies similar. Several ABC News colleagues who are accustomed to unraveling mysteries and cracking investigative stories tell Rolling Stone that they have no idea what happened to me. So before you start going into, hey, he had classified information. No, there's laws that allow, like, if something's happening, you feel like it's wrong, and you want to disclose, it protects whistleblowers and it protects the media from reporting on certain classified things, because it's happened for years. I mean, just look at the Supreme Court leaks. Did anybody get prosecuted? No. There's laws that protect the journalists and the people that are disclosing this information. So you can say what you want. This guy's not been heard from. There was no cause given of why he's been taken, why he was raided. They actually had an MRAV that the FBI had it had been recommissioned from the Army, I believe. They bought it off the Army. You had the local police, then you had unmarked vehicles, and this huge MRAV pulls up to get a journalist, and then they whisk him away. So there are a lot of people that feel like there's a lot of corruption in the FBI. Has this happened before? Yes, it's happened before. Go look into J. Edgar Hoover. Like, it literally, when he died, there was a private file cabinet that his secretary had to get rid of just because didn't want it to look bad on old Hoover over there. So there's been a lot of corruption in the FBI. It's had to be restructured. It's had to be fixed a number of times. I mean, you're talking about the people that investigate everybody. They're the investigators of the politicians, of law enforcement, the reservations, the banks, everything. Who's watching them? So you got some corruption possibly going on there. You got a civil war between the appointed leadership and the rank and file on the bottom. So this is something to look into, folks. Rolling Stones, Daily Mail. This was ABC journalist has been captured. He was pro-military from what I read, and he was coming up with something that didn't look good on the Biden administration. Literally, Biden's numbers started tanking when he pulled out our forces from Afghanistan. That's when it all started. That's when people started turning on him. Even his own party started turning on him because of all the billions of dollars in weapons that he left there. Trillions of dollars in weapons, really. And they are the biggest armors of criminals in the world. They have armed more criminals than anybody in the world. I mean, and you can't deny it. When the Taliban has Apache helicopters, when the Taliban has Black Hawk helicopters, when they have MRAPs and they have tons of long rifles and sidearms and our equipment, you cannot deny they are the largest suppliers of weapons to criminals in the history of mankind. They always have been, but now it's just out in the open. Yeah, them ones they tried to hide over in Syria that were basically radicalized Islamic extremists that were going into churches and cutting off the priest's head and stuff. Yeah, everybody's seen that by now. You can deny it all you want. All right. So we got somebody wanting to come up. Jared Dale. We're going to bring Jared Dale up, and he can tell us what's happening at the dam. How you doing, Jared Dale?
What is going on, brother? What is going on?
Oh, we're talking about everything's going on. Did you not listen to that news? Everything's freaking going on.
You got more guns than I know what to do with.
I got more what?
I was trying to flip my camera around. I'm not quite sure how to do it. That work? Can you see that gas refinery right there?
It's just showing your profile pic with a vibrating ring around it. There we go. Yeah, I see it now. What we got there?
So I'm sitting here in Wynnewood, Oklahoma, the former home of Joe Exotic, where I'm sitting. We supply water to this here gas refinery out of our dam. Our power goes out. We got enough generator diesel fuel to last 3 days. After that, they ain't making gas either. If we have to lose power, so it's just a chain reaction.
Everything's ever catastrophes causing another catastrophe. So what? Explain this to the people. What you're looking at happening here at this dam with the drought. If it continues to lower and you're not able to run water through the dam, tell us what's happening with the fuel and everything.
We supply water to 3 towns in this gas refinery right here. If we is to shut down, you got 2.5 of those towns are going to be without water, and one of the other towns does get water from somewhere else. But if that goes down, you got 3 towns out of water. And how long is it going to last? How long are people going to wait for water before they start going crazy?
I guarantee you, some of them it won't be a day because they don't have any water in their house. Especially folks that got a lot of money They don't got much in the fridge. They go out to eat. People that work these higher dollar jobs, they'll be out having to figure out where to get water. So you're saying they need water from your dam to refine this fuel. So have y'all?
You can't see it right now, but if you ever go by a gas refinery, you see all that steam.
Mm-hmm.
They got that water to cool down those what do you call them? They burn the water to make steam to make the gas, or to refine the gas. The boilers. If they don't have water, they can't produce.
Yeah. I mean, I'm on K47. I seen that. I'm gonna make you a mod. You come in every day. Jerry Dale, are you a mod on here? I mean, you come in and contribute here and there. I didn't know if you was a mod or if you wanted to be one, but
I don't know. Sometimes I can't hang out long enough. Right now, I'm just waiting on Kubota to drop off the skid steer. I gotta cut some trees.
I got a youngin' coming home. Sounds like. What y'all doing home? It's an hour early.
Yeah, I got checked in.
Oh, yeah. He
I
gets.
checked out, but Mammy told me to come. And then.
This one right here figures out how to get out of school all the time.
No, I didn't even say anything. I was just doing my
That's my
work.
kind of guy.
I used to do it too when I was his age. Granny, I'm sick. She had cable and we didn't. Granny,
I got all the trips.
I'd be like, Granny, I'm sick. My belly hurts. Can you come get me? And I'd go over and watch Nickelodeon for the rest of the day. Nickelodeon. Oh, if we could just go back to them days. Fred Corkett, Slacker, LOL, Savior. Yeah.
So when you're telling people to prepare, to have food, have food storage, how many days? Is 120 days, 180 days?
I would say initially you want about three. Me personally, I would want no less than 3 months food. I would want enough to keep the family fed until maybe some help can get here, or I can get something growing and get some stuff hunted and processed and smoked. Because people don't realize how long it's going to take to actually put food up that'll keep you alive and the right nutrients that you're going to need. If you're in a city, you need to have as much as you can carry to get out. And I would have food outside the city in a place that I could bed down and hunker down for,
Where are the people going to go? They're not coming to my house, to your house.
the FEMA camps.
Oh.
They actually have Walmart set up to turn into emergency FEMA camps. They're going to turn schools into emergency FEMA camps. They'll turn, your towns, these small towns, they'll have people being sent by buses, into your towns, kind of like they're doing with the migrants. And caveman stayed out of the countryside. Literally, the National Guard, from what Jeremy, Jeremy Survival on here? He's one of my buddies.
I don't know.
He's an ex-Army SEER trainer. And we were talking about National Guard movement. He said, as far as the National Guard is concerned, they're for the state to help during the disaster relief. They'll help FEMA. And what their basic job will be is to set up checkpoints around large urban areas to keep people from, moving, out of where they're at. To keep them from, destroying infrastructure we have in the country. You imagine a food ride in the city, if it moved outside into the countryside and they're out there stomping down cornfields because they're ignorant and they think that's going to get food to them. There's going to be a lot of stuff like that would happen. So they're going to limit travel. And over the years, I've read a lot of just scenarios, novels, different accounts and of history. And so people literally are like the military in those situations are always out limiting travel because people traveling in mass is going to be chaos. We've seen the chaos a mass amount of people can cause. Coming out into the country, is not the option. They think we have tons of food here. And I know their mentality because I work with people that live in Chattanooga. And one of them, he said this one time, he was talking about all this stuff they needed, all this welfare they needed. He said, it's easier to make a way for yourself out in the country than it is in the city. I'm like, how? We got one factory to work at. I have to drive up here to work. I said, if you ain't in the right crowd, you ain't getting nowhere. And it blew his mind. I said, half the people out in the country ain't growing their own food. I mean, they're all corporate owned. I would say, answering that question, needing, how much food do you need on hand? I'd say as much as you can put up in the space that you have. That's what I.
Better have enough to get through winter.
Enough to get through winter. I'd say 6 months. That's what I'm aiming for my family. Long enough. I stopped prepping food wise as much as I did started prepping in food production. So there's been a lot of people talk about bushcraft and survival. That's great. It's going to take the whole circle of survival to survive. It's not going to be just putting up food. It's not just going to be farming. You're going to have to do what the settlers did. You're going to have the tools to manufacture your own equipment. You're going to have the stuff to protect it from animals. That's guns and ammo, and to protect it from people. That's going to take probably booby traps and fencing and dogs. So you're going to have to be set up to take care of your dog long term and produce food for him. That's why we got chickens. You can feed dogs, eggs and everything. You're going to have small livestock you can hide, because the cattle will be the first thing they go for. We've seen that in South America. When they run out of food, people were coming out of the city in dump trucks with machetes and rocks and killing the cattle out in the field, and the butcher from town would start butchering it up and they'd divvy it out. So there's actually was a video on YouTube for a long time you could pull up from that instance. I think they've taken it down. So you're going to have animal. The small stock's going to be the key. Rabbits. You don't got to. Heck, there's a girl I seen that had rabbits in a van doing van life. You keep a couple does and a buck. That's 600 pounds of meat a year if you do it right. Chickens. They can live literally anywhere. You can throw them out in the woods. We got chickens that's been running around here for years. They're kind of weird. We don't know about them chickens. But they come out with like 20 doodles every spring. You'll have one hen with like 20 doodles under. And we can't get rid of them. They're like rats. So that's another key thing. Goats. Goats can live off anything. You can get milk off goats, meat off goats. They'll keep your property line trimmed down. And that's going to be a key thing is security. Knowing what's around you. Knowing how to set your property up. Because there's old ads in Sears and Roebuck's where they were selling Tommy guns. And what they showed, you could buy fully automatic weapons off Sears and Roebuck's up until I think the 1980s. It was only $200 tax stamp. They passed that at the time because they couldn't imagine people being able to afford a $200 tax stamp at that time because of the pay and everybody wasn't making that kind of money. Well, now $200 ain't nothing. Anybody can own an automatic firearm if they go through the ATF and they can find one to buy. That's why they passed the 1985 gun ban, because so you can no longer the public cannot own currently manufactured fully automatic weaponry. So you have to find antiques, and that's why antiques cost starting around $10,000 to $20,000, old Uzis and M16s. But it got off on a tangent. But going back, there was an actual ad. And it showed people coming in on horses raiding this farm. And this old man's out there with a Tommy gun, boom, 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 just running these folks off. And so that's how they were literally marketing that Tommy gun back in the 30s and 40s to farmers, because there were people that would come in. I mean, you had hobos and bums and people that would travel around, and they were literally trying to go in and take what they could from the farm.
Well, hopefully the Lord will come back before it gets that bad.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I hope he comes back. I hope he comes back tomorrow, because I'm fixing to hit a couple day weekend off work, and I'd love for that to just keep going.
Oh, yeah.
Perpetual vacation.
I'm looking. I'll come right now. See him.
Well, he might have just come and we got left right here. We see some people dropping out of the comments. We know we wasn't where we thought we was. No.
He's already been here. Guess we got just a few years left to get it right.
Yeah. Well, they're reconstructing the temple. Have you heard about this?
I've heard very little.
Let's Google it. Let's Google it. Because I've heard some about it, but from what I'm hearing, they're reconstructing the temple. Like, we're going to Google this. Reconstruction Jewish temple. Go to the news. A new life for old tradition. Let's see the groundbreaking work of Arab archaeologists.
This one has to be built there in Jerusalem?
It's going to have to be built in Jerusalem. It's going to have to, that's going to be one of the initial things for Christ's return, or for the tribulation. That's when we know the tribulation's beginning. You have a one world government. You have a one world, you'll have a one world currency and a one world ruler. And then you'll have the temple being rebuilt. And then 3.5 years in, you're going to have the desecration of that temple. They're going to have a recommencing of the animal sacrifices. So you imagine animal blood sacrifices in this day and age, what's going to happen?
Yeah, I don't know what. Sometimes I feel like we're already in the tribulation.
So, you know, there's people that have that post-tribulation rapture view. There's people that have pre-tribulation and mid-trib rapture. There's a lot of views, but and like you said, sometimes I look at it and I think, what in the world? But those are the initial things we will see in the beginning that to look for. As far as that, you know, we're looking at the red heifers they found. I think in Texas, they're supposed to be the kind of perfect sacrifice. Do what'd you say now?
The river, Euphrates River?
Mm-hmm. See, it's drying up. Literally every river in the world is drying up right now. So, but they predicted that. And you know, we hear this from people all the time. I've heard the Lord's coming back all my life. Yes, but that really wasn't a big thing until they made Israel a country again and started bringing the Jews back to Israel.
Well, the disciples thought he was coming back in their time.
Mm-hmm.
But every generation thinks, you know, has the same thought process. He's coming back. Well, he is coming back.
Now, Char Kitty's saying that it happens regularly that the Euphrates dries up. But it's big news right now. Something's different.
First I've ever heard about it. There it is.
What's that? What's going on right there?
Skid steer.
Oh, yeah.
Got a brush hog on it. I'm gonna cut some of these trees down.
Uh-oh. You got to get back to work.
Gotta get back to work. I've been waiting on this one for it. So
There he is. Have a good one, bud. We'll see you.
Great talking to you. We'll talk to you later.
Good to see you. So we got Jared Dale come in. He's kind of talking to us about what would happen if the river dried up where he's at. And they have an oil refinery there that uses water from that dam. There he goes. He finally figured it out. So the rivers drying up are going to affect everything. Right now it's affecting travel. It's affecting the food supply chain. It's going to affect fuel if it gets any lower. We're seeing drought across the world, folks. We were literally watching videos of Chinese elders, the elders in the community, in grocery stores just to keep cool in the record 118 degree weather that they were having in China. We've seen the Yangtze River over there begin to dry up. We've seen the Three Dams project. They're not able to supply enough. Hey, gorgeous, good to see you. They're not able to supply enough electricity to the people. That's why people were soaking in rivers. People were hiding in caves. The elderly were going into the grocery stores. This video's out there. You can pull it up on YouTube. There was 180 million people without power because their hydroelectric dam system couldn't produce the electricity because the river was drying up. So now we're seeing our Mississippi drying up, and they're actually having to make a seal to keep the ocean water from running back in and contaminating the drinking water that they're pulling out of the Mississippi River. So we're seeing insane things happening, folks. And I'm not trying to say, I'm not fear-mongering. I'm giving you examples of why you need to prepare. We're seeing unprecedented amounts of natural catastrophes in our world. We're seeing unprecedented amounts of terroristic acts, unprecedented amounts of government corruption, unprecedented amounts of war and rumors of war. We're in perilous times, and I'm counseling you to be as prepared as possible. Again, we have your most important tool, your knives. We have these up for sale on our website. We're willing to help you. If you're looking to make some side hustle money, you want to try and sell these on places like Macquarie, and you want to buy these in bulk, we have a friend, Adnan Arshad. He's come into the live. We can get you hooked up with him. You can contact me, DM me, whether it's Facebook and selling these. We can help you set up other things to sell because we got access to other manufacturers. We're willing to help you. If you just want to buy something, we got these things on our site for sale. If other business opportunities we have a network marketing company with the Happy Coffee Company. You can screenshot that code and you can use that to start setting up your own coffee company. Your selling team through my wife. She's doing that with the Waker's Coffee brand. The Happy Coffee, it's a superfood coffee. Also, we're going to do our best to supply you with different kinds of gear. This is the Phoenix Light. You can screenshot that QR code. It'll take you right to the site. We get a small percentage. I think we get like 10% of the sale, and you just clicking, we might get like a quarter. So let me see if I can get that to focus on the Facebook camera. But yeah, screenshot, use your Google Lens, use your camera, go to that, use your QR code scanner, go to that site, and you can help us. Go to our website, go to if you need food and you don't got the time to go make a bunch of bags of prep food, go to readywise.com and use the discount code E29TEN, all caps. That'll help you put up, if you just had a bucket for every member of your family, think about that. You had that bucket, you carry a dry bag with you, you got a backpack full of your gear, your supplies, your emergency gear. Each member of your family's going to have all those calories in that bucket they can carry. My kids could carry them. They're not, because they freeze dry that food. You can carry that with you. You have ability to collect water. You have, if you got a cotton t-shirt, you got the ability to filter that water. Then you got a small cooking pot in your pack. You're going to be able to filter it. You got food. You can boil that water, put it in them packs, get your food ready. And this is if you don't have the time to do what I have videos showing you how to do. I got videos showing you how to put it up just from your grocery store for the last 20 up to 25 years. Some of it even 30, but we can't guarantee that. You need to do your own research, but go watch those videos. I'm telling you, folks, we're going to do our best to help you. We are praying for you every day. We're trying to be that example of Christ to you that we want to have people be to us. I love y'all. I don't make a lot of money doing this. Anything you do helps. We put it back into this. We put it into the filming and the trips we take people on. We put it into equipment, and we're doing our best to help you out. If you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, share this content out, share it to your social media. That helps us with the different algorithms. That helps us get to other bases of other social media bases we don't reach on our own. Share it to your Facebook groups, share it to your Reddit, share it to your online forums and chats. You're very welcome to screen record this and repost this on your own social media, short video platforms. If you want to take clips from this and post it, you're very welcome. I'm going to give you that permission to do it. We don't make no money off that, but it does get the word out. But I will tell you all the things that I tell you about preparedness. I could put up tons of food. I could put up tons of tools and fuel and water, and I could lose it all in one day. But my greatest preparation is my relationship with Christ Jesus. And he supplies my needs in the riches of his glory. He takes care of the things that I can't plan for. He helps me to learn things that I didn't know. There's been so many times. Now, you can argue science all day about the validity of a all-powerful God. You can argue historical and situations, but in my personal life, you cannot argue me away from the belief in God and Christ Jesus, his son. Because I've seen there's been too many coincidences for it to be coincidence. There's been times where something just stuck in my brain and it was brought back to my mind by the Holy Spirit, and it benefited my family. It helped me in a time of crisis. There's been needs that were met by people coming along in my time here on earth that couldn't have been met. It was just so timely that it couldn't have just happened. There's an active force out there that is trying to destroy you, an evil, and there's no question about that throughout. They try to rename it. They try to reorganize it. They try to scientifically evaluate it, but there's an evil force out there that's trying to destroy, trying to kill, steal, and destroy. But I got a force that's more powerful than that, and it's my Lord Jesus Christ working through his Holy Spirit in my life, guiding me, giving me strength, and supplying my needs where I go. See, that's my ultimate preparation, folks. Jesus Christ. You may not believe in it. I'm not forcing you to believe it, but this is the one time I give this over to the Lord. I've give you so much as well as far as knowledge, news, education. Hey, take it and leave if you don't like this part. I completely understand. But if you are struggling, if you are in need, if you have a problem in your life, if you're bound by addiction, my greatest counsel to prepare for you is in Jesus Christ. And you may be that person that struggles all the time. You may not see an end to your problem, but I'm going to tell you, the Lord will guide you through it and help you through it. Jesus Christ has been my Savior. He has been my help. He has been my strength in time of need. He has been my peace in the chaos. He's been the one that's anointed all this platform to rise up that helps me help you. I don't know why, but he's done it. And I'm going to do my best to do right by him by helping you. And the greatest way I can help you is by telling you about my relationship with Christ, being the best example I can be of him. And even when I fail, even if I fail, even if you see terrible things come out of my life as we go in the future, know this. I'm going to turn things back over to Jesus in that moment in time where I realize I failed, because he has never done me wrong, even though I've done him wrong and others wrong at times in my life. The Lord's got my back. The Lord can have your back. You can have that preparation for all the wild cards you'll face in your life. You may face a lot of things in life and you can't be prepared for. And I want you to know, Christ can be prepared for it for you. He knows the number of the hairs on your head. He knows your past. He knows your present. He knows your future. He can order the footsteps of the righteous man. He can surround about you his angels. He can encamp them about around you to protect you. He can supply your needs. If he supplies the flower's needs, he can supply your needs. I'm going to tell you, that's my greatest preparation that I can tell you to get, besides the food, besides the water, besides the tools, besides the skills, besides, general knowledge, besides the firearms. When the firearm jams, he's still there to protect you. He's there to anoint your aim. Just look at David. Took down, some say 11, some say 9 foot tall giant of a man. Some call him a Nephilim, but he was a big guy. And this little shepherd boy went out and faced him with nothing but a rock and a strap of leather on his own. Was made fun of by his own family. Made fun of, kind of looked down upon by the leader of the country and the king. Looked down upon by his own opponent. By the grace of God, he was anointed to do great things and went on to do greater things. And that's what we're here. We're trying to find them Davids out there in the crowds. We're trying to find them anomalies, them folks that's just crazy enough to put their trust in Jesus and let him guide their life. And I hope that's what we inspire you to do here at Edge 29 Chaos Preparedness on the Chaos Cast. I hope we can encourage you to put your hope in Jesus Christ and let him guide you, let him lead you, let him strengthen you, let him give you peace in the middle of this storm, and let him break your chains. And we're going to pray for you right now. If you feel like exiting right now, I understand. If you're watching on recap, this might be your cue to leave if you just can't stand this prayer. But if you don't believe in it, but you still want to hang around, hey, that's just fine with us. We're going to pray for you, and we're going to do our best to help you. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you for this time of fellowship with fellow believers, fellow like-minded
self-reliant enthusiasts, Lord God. I thank you for those that have come in and been educated and guided and helped, Lord God, through some of the stuff you've anointed us and allowed us to put out. I pray, God, Lord Heavenly Father, that you just let these words go out and have an effect in the communities. Let these streams get out there and help people grow. Let these things happen in ways that we didn't expect, have good effects in ways we didn't expect, Lord God, that we didn't put the money into that people normally do to get those effects. Let it help folks, God. Let people begin to see the need to be more self-reliant and to take their safety into their own hands and not depend on man, not depend on government, but to depend on your guidance and lead and your wisdom that's in your word that we've always had through the ages, Lord. And I pray, Heavenly Father, that you just set a special hand of protection down on those that have helped with this today. Set one special down on them trolls that have come against us, Lord God. Guide them, Lord God. They may be just having a little fun, and we understand that. They may be just trying to stir something up, but I pray you help them find true peace in their life, Lord God, outside of trying to inflict emotional damage on our viewers, and they try on me, but God, you've protected me from it. But I pray you just help them, God, because there's something wrong there, and they need your help, and they need love, and they need peace in their life. I pray you help them, Lord God, and I pray that you just guide us as we go forward. In Jesus' name we pray. And they all said, amen. We thank you again. Go screenshot that. Go get you a Phoenix light. Screenshot that. Go start you a coffee business. It's some of the best coffee in the world. It is a happy coffee full of superfoods that you normally would have to eat or put into your meal. But hey, we put it in a tasty coffee form. And I'm drinking it right now every day in my red little cup. And don't forget to go to ReadyWise.com and use the discount code E29TEN to save 10% on your purchase of emergency preparedness foods that you can put up and last up to 25 years. It's an investment, folks. I've already got an investment in there that's probably doubled or tripled in its price since I gotten it. If you're looking for your most important tool, if you're a seller at a flea market, if you've got an online site like we do, if you're a seller on social platforms, hit us up. We can help you get these handmade knives in bulk. They're well made, full tang. This is a bone handled Damascus steel knife. Very, very sharp. I showed you that in the beginning of how sharp this knife is. So this is a couple layers of paper. Let's see what it'll do. Just cuts right through 3 or 4 layers of paper. Very easily. Very sharp knife. These come very sharp. He had these things wrapped in saran wrap and oil just extensively. So he's selling very good handmade knives. And we have just basic knives. If you're just a basic knife fan, I'm not sure if this is Damascus or just high carbon steel. 1075, 1065, high carbon steel, 1085, maybe 1095. There's a lot. I need to talk with him more. We got, if you're a chef and you're looking for something like this, we got good made, sharp chef knives for a decent price on our website, and you can buy these in bulk if you're looking to sell. We got some stuff that's just for fun too, but can be used. Got that deer knife there. My dad loved that, and he's like, I like that. So we may get him a couple of those. We may get a couple of them to give out as Christmas gifts. If you're looking to get ready for Christmas early, which I counsel you doing if you're going to do it, go hit the website up. We got some good deals. If you're interested in selling, trying to earn extra little Christmas money, hit us up on our business opportunities. And again, we're going to have the show notes. Here, y'all can screenshot that. If you want our references and show notes, you'll have to flip it around on your phone camera. But we're going to be posting that on the blog. Go to the website through the link in the bio, edge29chaos.com. You can get regular updates to our blog, and you will have access to the show notes. You'll have access to the information we post on there, and you can just get to know us a little bit. We got pictures up, we got videos up on there. We're going to be looking at probably putting some animal processing videos up on there from our me and my son's hunting, from our fishing trips. We're going to be trying to put those up because I can't get banned there from firearms and butchering animals and things of that nature there because it's my own site. It's my own platform. So go subscribe to that email list, and you're going to hopefully have a good time being there. You're going to have a good time experiencing that. And we also got our merch store where you can get the Happy Gun shirt. If you ever see the Happy Gun shirt in any of our videos, we got that there, $22. That's a good price. Dr. Kenny, our friend at Iron Wolf Distributors, we got that merch store posted on our website. Go check it out. Get you a Happy Gun shirt. We'll see y'all later. Y'all have a good one, folks. We love y'all. Hope y'all have a good day.